Hi, everyone. It is August 14, 2021. This is Great Barrington, Massachusetts. Actually, you see this huge church? I lived directly across from that church. I left Great Barrington in 2012. And this was in 2006, so I was still living. Actually, I was living in West Stockbridge, another town just outside of Great Barrington. This was Rossiter. This is where I lived, this street. Not too far in. There's a point to this, so hang on for a sec. But in 2006, I did not see any of the Agenda 21, 2030 signatures. In 2006, I still had these incredibly beautiful trees, which gave such comfort during the summer because of the shade. And there was a big controversy and fight over taking all of these trees down. Nobody wanted it. Nobody understood that in 2006, the town council had already been taken over. It had already been usurped by the county. Everybody thought that, in 2006, the town council was still operating as an independent body, and it wasn't. So, even though all of the business owners did not want any of these trees taken down, they were taken down. You see this corner right here? When I was living in Great Barrington, Saturday from 9 to noon time, 3 hours, one man would stand with a sign, "Stop the war." One man. Every Saturday, he was out there. He actually lived on my street, which I'll show you. I lived in this house, and I see there was a church that was not operating right here, and they have done some renovation. Okay, so I lived here. And he lived in this house. And, I didn't really have any chance to talk to him as a neighbor. But one day I went up to him and I asked, I said, "I see you out here every Saturday. And I see you out here for hours. And I'm just wondering, because there doesn't seem to be any real attraction or attention given to you, all of these people driving along Main Street, Great Barrington, and nobody's stopping, nobody's honking. He's out there alone. And I just wanted to know why. And he told me a story that I will never forget. And I will never forget that man who stood there. And what he told me, and I finally found the quote, was that a man would stand outside the White House alone in the rain or the heat of the sun. It didn't matter. But it was during the Vietnam War. And it was his protest to stop the war. And this is the quote. A reporter once asked A.J. Muste, a Dutch-born American clergyman and pacifist who protested against the Vietnam War, "Do you really think you are going to change the policies of this country by standing out here alone at night in front of the White House with a candle?" And his response was, "Oh, I don't do this to change the country. I do this so the country won't change me." You know, some people can say things to you, and that man does not know the effect of his words to me that day, but he had a profound effect on me. I thought about those words often, not just in relation to, wars or some kind of policy that I wanted changed, or I didn't want people to change me. They would insult, laugh at, call me a conspiracy theorist, and there were times when I felt shamed. There were times when I felt humiliated. There were times when I felt exhausted. Oh, you're too serious. Oh, you're so negative. Oh, you're this, you're that. And I would remember those words. Because I knew what I was trying to do was the right thing. I knew it. Deep in my soul, I knew it. Trying to, tell my liberal progressive friends in Great Barrington, this is another drive-through in 2018. And trying to tell them about what was happening in the sky, trying to have conversations about Obama, and Obama really not being who they thought he was. And nothing ever took hold. Within minutes, I could feel the tension, because all they wanted to talk about was themselves. It's hard for me to even look at this, because 2012, when I left, was the start of my personal nightmare. But this is where I walked all the time, and you see the bike lanes. See all of, this is the church that was renovated. But I literally lived in between this blue building and that church. And it was great. I would walk out my door, I'd walk down Main Street, I would see people, I would, just spontaneously sit down and have a cup of coffee with people. It is a great town. But have you noticed that it's now bare? They took down all of the trees. The bike lane is here. And, I noticed it was 2010, I think. They had a green sign outside Town Hall that Great Barrington was a green community. And I looked at that point, no, it must have been later, 2011. All of the trees are gone. Gone. And so many there probably still think that Great Barrington operates independent of the county, which takes instruction from the United Nations. Yeah, I really miss this place. But when I left, I was no longer that liberal Democrat. This is where I hung out. TP Saddle Blanket. My friend managed the store, and so you get a very different view of that corner where that man stood. And he was out there every Saturday. Right here. In fact, yeah, these are the signs. The green community of Great Barrington, Massachusetts. I'll speak for myself. I have to do what I believe to be right, regardless of anyone else. It has been very hard, but I don't want to become that person who sits back, does nothing, remains silent in the face of such evil that is now quite apparent. We don't have a good energy in our country. We don't. Alexander Solzhenitsyn, horrible with names, in keeping silent about evil, in burying it so deep within us that no sign of it appears on the surface. We are implanting it, and it will rise up 1,000-fold in the future when we neither punish nor reproach evildoers. We are not simply protecting their trivial old age. We are thereby ripping the foundations of justice from beneath new generations. My entire life has been watching those who turn a blind eye to evil, pretend it's not there, don't want to know because it makes them feel uncomfortable. And it's just too negative. That's why we're living the nightmare we are living. I don't do this to change the country. I do this so the country won't change me. And, I often think about this. Very simple. Who wants change? I do. Who wants to change? Who wants to lead the change? gone. That's why we're living this nightmare. So, I posted the video, and yes, the protests in France were quite inspiring. And I knew it. Inevitably, I would get the comments. What does walking in the street solve? Nothing. Protests are stupid. Occupy Wall Street proved that, and was honestly exhausting to watch and resulted in nothing. Too bad you watched. Too bad you watched. Ha ha. He said, people actually think protesting will make any difference. I sit and watch protests 6 months ago in Australia. Now look at Australia. They showed him down. Protesting is a waste of time. All you do is get on CC Stevie, I don't know what that means, and then get your iris scanned. They scan your face. It's worthless. When I get those comments now, they're so depleting. But I understand why we're living what we're living. You don't protest to win. There are so many reasons for getting out there, taking the action. And that is what I don't understand. Now, I'm only showing you two. Well, I can't show you all of the comments on my primary channel. My primary channels, the other two that were taken down, how many times in 12 years have I gotten laughed at, humiliated, or the phone calls don't work, writing doesn't work, protests don't work, nothing works. That's why we're living what we're living. Because too many people sit and watch. They sit and watch people who take action, and they make fun of them. They make fun of them. You should be made fun of. You should be humiliated. But everything has become in this country, and frankly, it's been my entire life. You try to do the right thing, and you do get laughed at. You get made fun of. You try to have a serious conversation, and you get insulted. You want to hold people accountable, and then you get destroyed. I've lived the American bullshit my entire life. What do you stand for? What do you value? What are you willing to fight for? What are you willing to die for? Because if you don't have something that you are willing to die for, you're going to sit and watch. Taking action grounds the individual in what they value. It grounds the individual in the principles that they speak. It strengthens us, all of us. When we see these protests getting bigger and bigger and bigger, something is happening. If you do not get out on the street, nothing will happen. And again, I'm saying the protests are not going to win us because we don't have enough people. And when people just leave comments like, all one has to do is not comply, too many people are complying. That's why we're in a really dark mess. So if you get out there and you can show, your community, your country, you can show the world with the technology that we have. Wow, look at all of those people. And you have somebody who believes all of the crap that they hear. You see all of those people. Hey, it might turn, a light bulb off in their brain. You have no idea the effect. But if you sit and watch, I know the effect. It's like taking your body and placing it in what you love. And I don't mean sentimental. I mean, it's you're taking action because you believe something. And by taking that action, it strengthens your commitment. And your commitment to what you believe in, to what you're fighting for, to the ripple effect. There is a ripple effect. You may not know it, but there is a ripple effect of every action that you take. Taking no action, you don't ripple anything, and you just allow, all of the evil to continue to flourish. I know that I will never see any victory. Not in my lifetime. I know that. Does that mean I give up? Does that mean I'll just sit back and enjoy my days? I do this because the truth is everything to me. Nothing else. The truth. My own personal, as well as our collective. And justice. I became an attorney because of justice. I'm just a justice freak. Do I think I'm going to see justice? Absolutely not. Do I think that if there was something to join here in the United States, do I think that my joining would be, we're going to have a result that is going to be just fabulous for us? No, I don't. Because we let this go on forever. Because we have become, I'm sorry to say, a people. Yeah, the people of the lie. That's what we are. The people of the lie. Taking any kind of action fortifies your courage, strengthens your resolve, your commitment to the principles that have become a part of who you are. You're not just speaking them. So, we have a serious problem with the American psyche. And it's bad. You know, the spirit's gone, knocking people down for, you know, taking any kind of action. We're vapid, empty, soulless, collectively speaking. You know, what do you stand for? I am going to do a video tomorrow with Tico. What is it? Here's a book, Paul Larry Dosey, with Tico. Healing the Mind Virus That Plagues Our World. And we do have a mind virus that plagues our world. But for Americans, this has been going on, and we've become sicker and sicker morally. It's like the lie has become everything in this country. You live the pretense. You speak a good game about who you are. Put the labels on yourself. But you don't demonstrate it. Now, I'm not talking about everyone. So if you're upset about this, look at yourself in the mirror. Don't attack me. Look at yourself. Because I think anybody with awareness and who has done, you know, some work on themselves to heal their mind, to yes, raise their consciousness. Oh, I know Christians can't stand that word. Oh my God. Yeah, what? Okay, fine. But anyone with that kind of awareness knows full well what I'm saying. You know, with Tico. Hang on. Briefly, with Tico, the virus of selfishness, according to Native Americans, Wetiko is an evil spirit that invades human minds. It's a virus of selfishness. The self-centeredness that has just, unfortunately, it's like a malignancy that has literally made Americans very sick. And just because everybody is living the same way, it doesn't mean that it's the right way to live. There is a right and there is a wrong. And I can't remember who it was, but one, I think it was Solzhenitsyn, who said, and I'm paraphrasing, instead of focusing on human rights, I think it's time to focus on human obligation. We do have an obligation here. We have an obligation to one another. And we have failed greatly. So, the selfishness, we live in an era where most psychosocial phenomena, proves the existence of a virus of selfishness. Wetiko is a word that Native Americans use to designate an evil person who never worries about the well-being of others. And yes, I've said it before, I'll say it again. We think we care. We like believing that we're caring, compassionate people. But we don't demonstrate it. What you care about, you demonstrate. What you care about, you actually live. So, yeah, when indigenous communities came into contact with the first European pilgrims, the Native Americans said they were infected by Wetiko. It was a tribe of the Cree in Canada who used this concept for the first time. The mental concept they had of the white or civilized man was that of an individual affected by the virus of selfishness. The virus led them to desire the force of nature and its resources as their own. So, I'm going to stop there. You are either lifting life up or sucking it down. And the end result is pretty obvious. You know, and unfortunately, those who are complacent and silent and, just no matter what you say, they always pull it down, doesn't work, no. Because there's so many of them, they pull all of us down to their level. It's very hard to continually go on. Because they suck you dry. Like the vampires, the emotional vampires, and those who just will never look at themselves and try to pick their own self up and try to become a better human being in the world. They'd rather pull everyone down. So, I'm tired. Anyway, I hope you have a good night. If you don't know what to do, think of the highest ideal. I heard Richard Gannon say that. If you don't know what to do, and he was quoting somebody else, I can't remember. It was from Academy of Ideas, that channel. If you don't know what to do, think of the highest ideal, and then do your best to achieve it. We're destroying one another. And there was a video that I had on Never Lose Truth. I think it was a Just Talking video. And I said, we don't need the elite to destroy us, because we're doing a fine job of destroying one another. And then not even have a consciousness about our own behavior and how it affects the ripple effect of that behavior. We walk around as if we're just fabulous. And I'm not talking about everybody. Unless we really confront our own self. It's how we got here. And we really need to start, facing the truth about our own selves. The focus on, the truth of the elite and what's happening, it's important. But the most important truth is the truth about you. And if you don't face that, you will always be with Tico. You will always have a virus of the mind and soul because you do not know who you are. You're lost in the world, and you will have a very detrimental effect. Even if you think you're nice and I don't do anything wrong and I sit back and just watch. That's where you become a detriment. You sit and watch. Anyway, I will link below to this article if you want to read some of it before tomorrow. And have a good night.